Is Giannis staying in Milwaukee good or bad for the NBA?
It's terrible for the NBA. There could be nothing worse for the NBA than Giannis Antetokounmpo pledging allegiance to the Milwaukee Bucks. It's wholesome. I'm going to have kids. I might throw a couple championships in there, but I want to repay my respects. I want to show my gratitude to the city of Milwaukee. Are you kidding me? Look, here's the reality. It's great for Milwaukee. It's great for the people of Milwaukee. But what have we learned about the NBA over the last few years? That the movement and mobility of its superstars has made it what it is and most attractive and capturing the greatest part of the sports landscape. We're talking about Anthony Davis the week before the Super Bowl and the possibilities of him going to the Lakers. Now that LeBron and AD have signed and pledged allegiance to the Lakers, how much gravitas did that get? How much splash did that get? Nothing. How much have we talked about Giannis deciding to stay in Milwaukee? An earth-shaking event, considering that we were talking about him potentially going to Toronto or Miami or Golden State. It does not play. What we have seen is that the people do not watch games today. The market and the audience for the NBA is a younger audience that spends its time on social media. That's where the NBA has become more popular than ever. It's not watching the games, it's talking about it. And what do we talk about? The potential of a superstar going someplace else. The number of fans that are interested in Giannis potentially coming to their team and what it would mean dwarfs the number of fans in Milwaukee who are excited that he's staying. It's just the reality. Wholesomeness and loyalty do not play on social media. Pettiness and unnecessary drama do. And since the NBA is making its bones on social media, this is the worst thing that could possibly happen for the NBA.
Slick, I would be sad if this was just your one bad take. But I'm heartbroken because this is 3 days in a row now of terrible takes, Slick. This is great for the NBA, Slick Rick. And let me tell you why. The greatest things about great sports is parity. What makes sports so great, Slick, is parity. Knowing that there is a little bit of equality amongst the sports so matches will be tight. What made that Ravens-Browns game on Monday night so good was how evenly matched they were. What makes the NFL playoffs so good. Bless you, Marcellus.
Man,
Wiley.
I'm allergic to this BS. I'm sorry. Keep going.
What makes the NFL, Slick, so good is that 52% of the games, Slick, are decided by one possession or less. Parity. Slick, from 2015 to 2018, I didn't care about the 82 games from November in between May because what I knew was from the first tip-off until the end of May, we were going to see the Warriors and the Cavs. The 82 games were meaningless. Offensive Rookie of the Years, All-Star games, Defensive Player of the Years, 40-point games. It was all meaningless, Slick, because I could tell you one thing and one thing alone. The Warriors were going to meet the Cavs at the end. No parity. Slick, why does college football semifinals have so many issues right now? Because 9 of the 12 semifinal games have been by double digits. The average margin of victory, Slick, in the college football playoffs is 21 points. There's not parity, so it makes the games boring. Keeping Giannis in the East. Mind you, the East only has 2 of the top 10 best players in the NFL, in the NBA, so that recent list came out. Slick, it brings and breeds forth parity. Parity is what makes the games great. Come on, Slick. I thought I knew you better.
Oh, man. Good takes. Good takes. I'm sorry for that sneeze right there. That was so rude of me. But you know what? I'm going to make up for it with a good take, I hope. And I think this is good for the NBA as well. I'm not mad at you, Slick, because you want the smoke. The NBA wants the smoke. Because somehow, some way, we've been duped into our society that the smoke is what matters most. It's weird. Growing up, I was a nerd, real nerd. Like, I didn't look the part because I didn't wear glasses and, the pocket protector, but certainly internally, I thought just like the nerds on the outside. And I used to hear all the time all of the other popular kids and the gangsters and the preppy boys and all the ballers. Everybody was in their own cliques thinking that they had the best way up the mountain. And the smoke that they were causing and all the attention they were going to get was going to guarantee success. And then the real world hits you and you start to realize that maybe you should have been a little more focused on what matters most. What matters most to Giannis is giving 1,000%. His loyalty and his family. And I'm not mad at the guy who put his family first because you know what? Basketball will leave you, but your family hopefully won't. So in that situation, that's a positive. But let's talk about the NBA and why they're sitting there and maybe applauding this silently as well. I go back to 2010 with the decision. You guys remember that? LeBron James taking his talents down to South Beach. And that's the first time we saw the ratings decline in the NBA. Wanting to smoke slick? Well, LeBron James gave you the smoke with the decision and all of the antics and the pep rallies and the championships, but the NBA first version of smoke. And what started to happen with the ratings as they went down? Other players started to say, I like that smoke. We saw, there's a long list, but I'll highlight it with Kevin Durant, Kawhi Leonard, Paul George, Anthony Davis, etc. since then, starting to make enforced trades and go where they want to go. Then on the flip side, since 2010, we saw guys like Dirk, Kobe, Duncan, all retire with the same franchise that drafted them, long careers. And then there's this other generation of players that's kind of like Giannis, like Steph Curry, like Klay Thompson, like Damian Lillard, that says, you know what, I'm going to stay where I was drafted and success will either come to me or else. I'm just going to stay here and figure it out. I think the NBA needs to understand what's happening right now, that they need to return back to the yesteryear times when the NBA was flourishing and there was stability. I think it was a turnoff to many fans, as the ratings suggest, that if you get to choose and pick and go wherever you want to go, it's not necessarily greater for the NBA as a whole.
Okay, you guys need to get together and work out your cases. If you're going to both take the same side, you can't have conflicting positions. And you just gave me one. Acho, one of these days you and I are going to agree on a subject, but today is not that day. You just made a case that what made the NBA so popular for you is that we were seeing the Cavs and the Warriors, the consistency of the Cavs and the Warriors in the finals. That was the attraction for you. And now Marcellus tells me that all the movement and everything, that's what's taking away, and that's why the ratings are decreasing. Okay, so what is it? The ratings have been decreasing because of movement or because of consistency? The bottom line is the TV ratings have steadily decreased. In the bubble, we had a great matchup. We had LeBron James and Anthony Davis, and we had that pursuit of a fourth ring versus the upstart Miami Heat, another decent market. And yet the ratings from the year before, Golden State versus Toronto, fell 50% in the finals. But you know what increased? The social media following. And why did it follow? Because people who are following the NBA in this day and age, the market is into the smoke. They're into talking about it and debating it and exchanging tweets more than they are actually watching the game. And so Giannis staying in Milwaukee is great for competition. And Giannis is a great watch as a player, but nobody's watching. So the interest in Giannis would be far greater if he wasn't pledging allegiance to Milwaukee and was like LeBron up until the Lakers, where it was every 2 years, where is he headed next?
Slick. If you into all this smoke, go to one of these shops out here in these corners in L.A., okay? Gummies. That's what you keep bringing out, is all this smoke. Slick, you misunderstood my take. I was saying that the Warriors versus the Cavaliers for 4 years in a row was bad for the NBA because you didn't have to care so much about the games in between, because the games in between were irrelevant. The games in between were rendered meaningless. Slick, I already have issue with the NBA and its attainment of parity because of the lottery. Like, I like the way the NFL does it. Worst team get the best pick. Second worst team got the second best pick. That, to me, makes sense. Slick, it's very simple for me. You keep Giannis in the East, that means you keep a high level of competition in the East, along with the well-coached Raptors team, along with the currently roster-wise talented Brooklyn team. But I remember early 2000s, up until LeBron got good, you saw the West was dominant and the East was like a laughingstock. Lakers won a chip, Lakers won a chip, Lakers won a chip, Spurs won a chip. Pistons, okay, Spurs won a chip. Heat, Lakers won a chip, Lakers won a chip. Like, come on, Slick. There wasn't no parity there. It was just kind of like whoever wins the West is going to win it all. And the East, they just out there running and jumping. That's it.
Look, I think the fans are sitting there, Slick, like, look, if the players are not buying into this situation, then I'm not going to buy in to the same level as well. How's it good for the NBA if there's smoke on Twitter, but it's not helping the NBA? Like, Twitter wins. Twitter gets more value and is a better platform, but people are not watching the games, you say, Slick. So I think there's some undermining of your argument by your own conversation because it's a drama-filled argument. And when in this world does it really win to have more sizzle than substance? Think about that. Like, that was my example growing up, and that's why I was talking about, like, substance over time is going to win this marathon. And I don't think that a lot of the NBA people, the executives, are thinking about that in the same way. But there is a coincidence or greater a correlation between 2010 and the decline in ratings and all this player movement all of a sudden that has occurred as well from 2010.